In the village of Nsumia, the sun burned hot, and the land cracked under its gaze. Rivers had shrunk into thin streams, and the crops stood lifeless. The people whispered in fear, for the wind that once carried clouds and rain had vanished. Kofi, a curious boy with bright eyes and an adventurous heart, watched as his mother sighed over empty water pots. "If only we could call the wind back," she murmured. Inspired, Kofi set off toward the mountains, where legend spoke of a hidden secret that controlled nature itself. Through rocky paths and scorching heat, Kofi climbed until he reached an ancient cave. There, an old hermit sat, weaving baskets of dry grass. "Why have you come, child?" the hermit asked. Kofi bowed and explained his quest. The hermit studied him and finally pointed to a glass bottle resting on a stone. "Inside lies the power to summon the wind," he said. "But beware, for power in the wrong hands brings ruin." Kofi, eager and determined, took the bottle and rushed home, dreaming of becoming the village hero. Back in the village, Kofi stood in the center square, gripping the bottle tightly. He hesitated for a moment, then uncorked it slightly. A cool breeze slipped out, rustling the trees and cooling the sweaty brows of the villagers. Gasps of relief filled the air. Encouraged, Kofi loosened the lid further, and the wind rushed through the village, lifting skirts, shaking doors, and filling the people with joy. "Kofi has brought the wind back," they cheered, and for the first time in months, laughter replaced despair. But as the villagers celebrated, Kofi realized something: the wind obeyed him now. If he sealed the bottle, the breeze disappeared. If he opened it, the air danced. A mischievous grin spread across his face. Why should he share the wind freely? Shouldn't a gift this powerful be used wisely, and perhaps for his benefit? With the bottle clutched in his hands, Kofi began to see the world differently, as one where he held the power to give and take. At first, Kofi used his power generously, bringing cool air during the day and gentle breezes at night. The villagers adored him, showering him with praise and gifts. But soon, admiration was not enough. When the village chief asked for a strong wind to drive away mosquitoes, Kofi crossed his arms. "What will you give me in return?" he asked. The chief frowned, but the villagers, desperate for relief, gave Kofi the best food and fine clothes. Pleased, Kofi released the wind, laughing as it swept away the pest. But greed grew within him. The next time a farmer begged for rain-bearing winds, Kofi demanded a goat. When a merchant wished for a cool breeze, Kofi asked for gold. Soon, the villagers realized the boy they once cheered for had become a ruler over the very air they breathed. The once joyful village fell into quiet suffering. No one dared to oppose Kofi, for without his wind, the land remained dry, the people exhausted, and hope withered like the crops point one evening. As Kofi lay in his new silk-covered bed, a sudden chill filled the air. He sat up, confused. The bottle, tightly sealed on his bedside, trembled as if something inside wished to escape. Before he could reach for it, a furious gust burst from the bottle, knocking him to the ground. The wind howled with rage, swirling in a storm that sent pots and thatched roofs flying. The villagers ran for cover, screaming Kofi's name. But Kofi was powerless. He had angered the very force he sought to control. The storm raged for hours, uprooting trees and overturning huts. The people huddled in fear, realizing the wind was punishing them for their greed and Kofi's arrogance. Kofi clung to the bottle, desperately trying to contain the storm, but the wind was no longer his to command. It had tasted freedom and would not be trapped again. As the night wore on, Kofi knew he had made a terrible mistake. By morning, the village lay in ruins. Thatched roofs had been torn away, crops flattened, and the marketplace destroyed. The villagers, once Kofi's admirers, now looked at him with anger and sorrow. The chief approached, his face weary. "You sought to control what was never meant to be owned," he said. "Now, you must set things right." Kofi, ashamed, carried the trembling bottle back to the mountains. He found the old hermit waiting. "I see you have learned," the hermit said. "The wind is not a prize to be won, but a gift to be shared." With a heavy heart, Kofi uncorked the bottle and whispered an apology. The wind whooshed out, free at last, carrying away the dust of destruction and bringing gentle rain clouds to the village below. As the first raindrops fell, Kofi knew his power had never truly belonged to him. It had always belonged to nature. With the rain soaking the earth, the villagers worked together to rebuild. They forgave Kofi, for they saw the remorse in his heart. Though he had made a grave mistake, he had also undone the damage. The wind returned, no longer locked in a bottle but moving freely, bringing balance once more. Kofi, humbled, never sought to control nature again. Instead, he dedicated himself to learning from the elders, understanding that true wisdom was not in possessing power but in knowing when to let go. And so, Nsumia flourished again, not through magic or force, but through unity and respect for the world around them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video to support more tales. Comment your favorite part of the story. Subscribe for more wise tales every week. Thanks for watching.